Hi, how are y'all doing today? My name is David Gugino, and in today's book review, I've got just a little they're all self-betterment books, but today I just have a self-betterment book that is a little different, but it's one of those books where it is just a self-betterment book. Now, but anyway, on this self-betterment book, now this self-betterment book it's a little different, but I really love the title of the book, which is why it intrigued me. And the title of it is something that we as humans should even do every day. Now, this isn't a bookmark that we're going to go over, but it's something I just thought I should mention. And this book is called Do the Hard Things First by Scott Allen. Now, you are probably wondering, yeah, I agree, do the hard things first, but why do we do that? Well, honestly, you might think, yeah, I do something hard every morning. I get up in the morning. That's hard. I go to work. That's hard. I work at work. That's hard. I mean, yeah, but the hard things first, as in you do the stuff that you don't want to do before you play or before you have fun. So, for example, before I sit down for the night, I'm filming this, I'm doing a little bit of editing, I'm doing some more reading, and then I'm sitting down. Then tomorrow morning, I'm getting up, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to do some grocery shopping, and then I'm going to do some more work on this. Might do a little bit of house chores, and then I'm going to go hang out at a Halloween party that I'm going to. But this book, I remember reading it, and I underlined a lot in this book, because the way he words things is plain and simple, but he words it as like how you could explain it to anybody in just the simplest terms. Like, instead of having all these big words of like how to motivate you and how to do this, he just says straight up, do the hard things first. And I know it takes some motivation to do that, and when people ask me, how do you get the motivation to do that? Honestly, purpose, in my opinion. You get motivation for anything you do in life through purpose, the reasoning and the why. The why as to why you're doing something. So working out every day, for example, the why would be to get in shape. The purpose would be to look good in front of everybody, and the other thing would probably be just because it's hard. Now that people won't get the third reason, they're like, it's hard, I mean, then why would you do it? Because doing hard things will build character. And character takes you farther in life more than anything else, in my opinion. And I say that, and the reason why I say that is because there are people out there who have a lot of money, who are super famous, but they don't have good personalities. And then the person who talks to them or interviews them always remembers that they were not nice to talk to. They were not super pleasant to talk to. And that is why. And also, just character is simple. It's just a good thing to have. And it's as simple as that. So now we're going to dive into the book. So the first thing I have, the first bullet point I have is from a quote by Dennis Waitley. So now, listen to this quote, because it's a very good start to the book, and it actually got me hooked reading this before I even started the actual introduction to the book. So listen to this. Procrastination is the fear of success. People procrastinate because they are afraid of the success they know will result if they move ahead now. Because success is heavy, carries a responsibility with it, it is much easier to procrastinate and live on the someday I'll philosophy. So think about that, and live on the someday I'll philosophy, as in someday I'll do it. And then carries responsibility and is heavy. It's heavy, carries a responsibility with it, and it is much easier to procrastinate. And they're afraid of the success that they know will result if they move ahead now. Now, success isn't necessarily promised, but even to get to success, think about that. Success is heavy, it has a comma. Success is heavy, carries a responsibility with it. It is much easier to procrastinate and live on the someday I'll philosophy. So that's honestly something really true to think about. Like, with doing this stuff, I fear like my whole evening being taken up, my weekends being taken up, doing this thing, but filming these things are not hard, and even editing them is not hard, but the fear of success is how you move forward in life as you work. And it's as simple as that. It's like moving up to a job. Your job, you move up and has more responsibility and more work. and probably more hours. Now, I also understand you can't work your life away. I think it was, can't remember the author of the book, but the guy that wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. Think about that, 4-hour workweek. All the Shark Tank people all work probably 100 hours a week to build their businesses. Starting off, now they got employees and got their own companies going, it's probably less than that, but starting up to be successful, they worked 100 hours a week. And they might not do actual work nowadays. They respond to emails, they make phone calls, they meet with investors, meet with other companies. So that is still about 100 hours a week. And then if you think of professional athletes, Olympic athletes, they work out hours and hours and hours every day. And probably if you did the time, it's probably 90 to 100 hours of working out on top of eating, resting, and stretching, and doing all that to save their bodies. So not only is there that, but almost any successful thing you do in life is going to be time consuming. It is, but you have to be willing to put into that time and to make sacrifices. So when people, I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger that said this, he was breaking down the hours in a day a human has. And in reality, those who work a 40-hour work week, those who do what they do in the morning, what they do in the evening, in reality, humans have about 3 hours of their day. Almost 3 hours of their day to do whatever they want. And you might think, some of them watch TV all day. Some of them just don't do anything. Some of them might eat something. But with those 3 hours, 1 hour, you could be doing something to educate yourself for an hour. You could spend an hour working out, and then you spend the third hour resting and then reflecting on the work that you did. So think about that for a second. When you work and run a business and are successful, and even with actors, I mean, Pamela Anderson was working 18 hours a day doing modeling, filming Baywatch, and doing other movies. And you think about really famous actors, they're constantly traveling, they're constantly talking to their agent to get movie gigs, they're constantly actually acting on top of that, and they got interviews. I mean, if you really think about it, a successful person's life is really, really busy. Now, they're successful. They can take any time off they want. And during their times when they're not filming, or like that one big thing's taken out when they're not doing a movie, they could probably relax for an evening, they could probably relax doing this. And some actors have very little sleep when filming those movies. And the reason they do that is because to be successful, you have to get very, very uncomfortable. And that's what it is. Now the next bullet point, I call it a bullet point, the next bookmark that I have that we're going to review is The Unknown, is what they call it. It's on page 40. Now, when it comes to the unknown, we are all scared of the unknown because that is where winning is. That is where fears are getting used to. The unknown is where success lies. Now the reason I say that, some people have worked a 40-hour job and have never added an extra 10 hours to their job or to a business on the side to make more money. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what do you mean by that? Why do they not do that? Because honestly, people like their cush, I call it cush time. People like their cush time. They like to sit down, they like to do nothing, and sometimes at my job, when there's nothing to package, I'm just sitting there talking to my coworkers. And we do enjoy doing nothing, but then when we get busy, we're all rolling our eyes at each other. Well, I'm not, but they're all rolling their eyes at each other, and I'm just like, yeah, because they got comfortable with being lazy. And it's not really laziness, but they got comfortable with doing nothing. See, when you get comfortable with something, that is when you need to get uncomfortable. That, or get comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. But this is what I had here for the unknown that is in his book. The fear of the unknown will always be an obstacle if you try to predict the outcome of an action. It's easy to predict the known, but the unknown is the other side of this fear. The unknown is on the other side of this fear. Break through it by making what you really want clear. If you want to try something new, but you're afraid to do it because of harsh criticism or nobody has ever done this before, that is precisely why you should do it. But only if your gut instinct is guiding you. Tap into this energy and believe in the direction it wants to take you. So think about that for a second. Tap into this energy and believe in the direction it wants to take you, and nobody has ever done it before. That is precisely why you should do it. So yeah, think about that for a second. We break through it by making what you want, what you really want, clear. So what you really want out of life, you make it clear, and then if you have in your head, no one's done this before, or you're afraid of harsh criticism, that is why you should do it. Because honestly, if you're being criticized harshly for your goals, or for trying something, honestly, take it as a compliment. Because usually the people who give you that criticism don't do anything themselves. My last job, my coworkers thought working out was the dumbest thing ever. And for some people it is. Because you see these guys who have these life-changing injuries, you see these guys, these bodybuilders that look like freaks of nature, and then you also see these guys who do bodybuild all their lives, or powerlift, and they're not the same. Which I get that, but also those were their goals. And the trade-off, which they didn't know at the time, was going to be that. But think about that, the unknown. They did not know their lives are going to be like that, but also their lives could have stayed the exact same if they didn't try to go into the unknown. And some of them don't regret anything because they made a whole career out of what they did, and they just life happened, and that's how it ended. That's how their career ended, getting beaten up in their body, being permanently injured. Now, when it comes to going into the unknown, like I said earlier in this video, the unknown is where success lies. It is. Because the other example that I used is like people who work 40 hours a week and are not willing an extra 10 hours to their work week to add a side business or do their job to make more money. Because it's unknown. They're like, well, I like my time. Well, I might be too tired, or I won't have time to do this or that. Well, you don't know where it will take you. You don't know the money you're going to have. You also don't know how it will change your character. See, that's what I think is a big part. Not only the success, but how your character and your work ethic is going to change going into the unknown. So really think about that for a second. Now, the other thing that I actually have one more thing about this topic. Notice he says that's why you should do it. Honestly, when it comes to anything in life, any risk you take, you should do anything because no one else is going to do it. Like working out. If your friends don't work out, be the one that works out. If your friends don't wash or clean the inside of your car, be the one that cleans the inside of your car. If If your friends show up late to every event, be the one that shows up on time. People might not appreciate it or give you compliments, but they will remember as you're the one who works out, you're the one that cleans his car, you're the one that shows up on time. And the reason why you're doing it is they may not care, might not get you further up in will later in the future, but it might not get you further up in your friend group, it might not get you a girlfriend, but you are doing it because you should. Just because it's the right thing to do. And to be honest, when it comes to character, good character is just simply doing the right thing. Now, but the next thing that I have is called Step 1, take total ownership of behavior, let me read that for the third time. Take total ownership for behavior change. So think about that. We shall never have more time we have and have always had. All the time there is. No object is served in waiting until next week or even until tomorrow. Keep going day in and day out. Concentrate on something useful. Having decided to achieve a task, achieve it at all costs. Arnold Bennett. We shall never have more time. We have and have always had. All the time there is. So think about that for a second. You will never have more time. It is going to be how humans are meant, like we have to sleep. Now I understand you see these guys out there who sleep like 4 hours a night or so they say. They might sleep 4 hours a night, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. But the rest of the week, they will be sleeping more because your body has to get a good night's sleep. You have to get a good night's sleep. Now the reason why I bring that up is because the way science is and the way humans work is your fatigue, your tiredness, and your nervous system will not recover. Now, there are drugs out there that will help you tremendously to where you cannot sleep or sleep that much and be fine. But as an average human, it doesn't take anything. Your fatigueness, your nervous system, and your tiredness, well, it'll all affect your nervous system, but that will all affect the way you focus, the way you function, your speed, the way you think. It'll affect everything. And you might think, well, I can beat my mind. You can, but eventually you will forget stuff, you will mess up on something, you'll make mistakes, and you won't even realize it until someone calls you out on it. Because being tired is a thing. Now, people who say, I don't want to work out today because I'm tired, or I don't want to get up in the morning because I'm tired, that's laziness. But doing all of that and messing up on stuff, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when it's like your body needs a proper night of sleep. Now, the third real thing that I have, as I was just to quote at the beginning, is about the total ownership for behavior change. So listen to this. You are responsible for your own behavior. This is true for your habits, thoughts, actions, and decisions. You are responsible for your success, failures, and the quality of your lifestyle. When you step up and own everything, you are waiting for nothing to show up and make life better. You are captain of your vessel called successful living, and by taking total ownership, you become a person of deep influence. Right there. By taking total ownership, you become a person of deep influence. So as in whatever happens in life, you have to take ownership for it, and your behavior. If your behaviors are, they're your behaviors. If your behaviors are causing you to not get out of your comfort zone, to not be a good worker, to not start something new or try something new, to not get to know more people or know bigger fish, it's all because of you. It's all your behavior and your attitude towards those things. Your attitude towards the unknown. Your behavior, your attitude towards the unknown is what will get you when it comes to being successful. Now, taking ownership of your own behavior, I mention that a lot because in today's world, people do not do that. And it's amazing how when people get in arguments or get into fights, they don't take ownership for why their life changed because of that one thing that they did, which they were in complete control of. You are in complete control of your behavior. Now, the emotions that cause it, sometimes your mind plays tricks on you, I get that, but the way you react to things, you're in complete control of. So, like, I was having a conversation with my friend at work, and he says, why don't you talk like that? Why don't you go up and try to show off and be cocky? And I said, because you don't know who you're talking to, for one. Two, I want to be as kind and as humble as possible, because I don't want to be like that, because I'll say that kind of stuff to the wrong person. I'm also not big in any way, shape, or form. And I'm learning how to fight, but I'm also not a good fighter. And that's not the main reason, because I also mentioned it's just the right thing to do to be nice to everybody. It just is. And when it comes to being responsible for your own behavior, true for your habits, thoughts, actions, and decisions, that also leads to you are responsible for your success, failures, and the quality of your lifestyle. So when you fail, you might have not known something, but you have to take responsibility for it. But that responsibility should influence you to try again. Because you've never tried if you've never failed. And that's true, because people have failed. You look at all these people who are successful, they didn't get that success overnight. You don't see all of the failures, all of the people who told them you couldn't do it, all the losing things and the sacrifices. You don't see any of that till they're successful. And it's like with actors. You might think, wow, this actor blew up in this one movie and they're 20 years old. Yep, but that was probably 5 or 6 years of rejection after rejection, audition after audition, on top of learning how to act, on top of having a couple of jobs to pay for their place of living. That's what it is. People don't think about that. And then there are some people who are blessed, like me, where things are handed to them, but when things are handed to you, you don't take it for granted. You use it to make something bigger, or you use it to help the people who gave it to you. I would love to retire my parents someday. I'm not there yet, but if I ever make when I make a ton of money, I would love to retire my parents. Unless they retire before then I can't do that. But overall, take responsibility for your own success is the end point to this book. And then take responsibility for your habits, and then take ownership of your behavior towards those habits. So those are the points, and the ending thing for today's video is just take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for anything that comes at you, and take responsibility for everything you want to do in life. So overall, this was a very good book of do the hard things first. I say that about every one of my books. I gotta think of different adjectives. But this book is just plain and simple, it's just straightforward, and he words it in a couple of sentences, which I'll give him, but honestly, this is a pretty good book. And if you really think about it, the things I just said to you, I've said before, but I didn't word it like he does. So I want to thank you all for watching, and you all have a wonderful day. And don't forget to subscribe and to leave a comment. Thank you.